What's up, everybody? Welcome to DJ Dad's podcast. I'm Chris, joined by my co-host Kyle Wilson. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff that happened over last week and the weekend in the NFT, AI, and tech space. Today, some of our segments is going to include VV payout, creator GG drama. That's the biggest one of the weekend with Mr. Beast even being involved. Impact theory, some updates on the lawsuit with Tom Billio, some more drama with Gala. Discord links leading to wallet drainers, new links that we haven't seen in a while, Chatty BT, CapCut integrations, China building human-like robots, Jim Cramer on B&B, and so much more. So get tuned in, get ready to listen, and without all that being said, I'm going to pass it to Kyle for the market report.
Yo, what's good, man? It is a great day to be alive here, coming back from Labor Day. And let's take a look here at the market, man. We have, first of all, let me pull it up. We have the kind of market rebounding, just a slight little uptick here from the past few days. Like I'm looking at the overall really volume. I think it was 4.86 billion total volume. And then that has a slight uptick here on the wider NFT macro market. So possibly the bottom could be in, or we could be set to go down even a little bit lower. But the past 30 days, pretty much a lot of the major projects are down, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and so on. And really, that's the entire NFT market in a nutshell. Could we be at the bottom? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But Blur is obviously taking 30% of the market share still. OpenSea 27%. As you know, people react to OpenSea still to this day. Bored Ape Yacht Club pulling out of OpenSea next year, as OpenSea says that they're going to drop the royalty support and what have you there. I did see that they added a little filter that you can actually click on that will, basically show you all the collections that are supporting royalties essentially. But that's kind of a quick little update on that in terms of the wider market.
Cool, man. Yeah, as far as like, are we at the bottom or not? Of course, like nobody has a crystal ball. I do know, like historically, September is usually a bad month for DeFi, for just the market as a whole. And right now, regardless of even if it seems bad, as far as Bitcoin goes, we're up 30% on the year. So we'll kind of see how the rest of September goes. We also have the kind of still the uncertainties with BNB and the SEC, or not BNB. Binance and the SEC, and of course like Coinbase and the SEC, like that's not like to the side yet, despite the win with Grayscale last week. So I think there's a lot of uncertainties around the corner, but again, we don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah, Impact Theory just got sued by the SEC, which is a big NFT project as well. Apparently they settled with the SEC. That's Tom Billio's project as well. So that's something to consider in the macro in NFT and Web3 as well.
Yeah, and if you guys missed it, we actually talked about that. It was breaking news on last week's podcast that was on Kyle's channel and going to be on all streaming platforms and also on the on X platform. So be sure for that. Got distracted because I completely forgot to mention I have something exciting. We always do like a little icebreaker for every one of these just to kind of be real. AI is going to take over all of the stuff anyway, so I might as well show the human side of it. Did you have a good Labor Day, Kyle?
Yeah, man, I had a really good Labor Day. You just hung out with the family all day pretty much. We grilled out, the classic Americana, Labor Day, if you will, minus the lake. But other than that, it was pretty fun. Not going to lie, but yeah, that's kind of my update on that end. What about you?
Cool, man. Yeah, I had a good time. I got to play some disc golf, of course, in the AM. Worked like a little segment of the day, like basically took like half a day to work just to be sure, I got everything, all my T's crossed. And then spent time with family for the rest of the day, like just immediate family, just hung out, ate food, watched movies, went outside, touched some grass. So it was really good. One more thing before we move on to our topics is some breaking news for the life of Chris Coffee last weekend. I did get basically reposted by Elon Musk. Probably the biggest accomplishment that I've had in my Twitter/X career. I had a lot of people asking like how I did it or exactly what it is. So Basically, one of the Elon Musk is like a reply guy for like several people, and ironically, a lot of those people are involved with crypto. One of them is Doge Designer, and Doge Designer highlighted a post that I made that was comparing YouTube ad revenue to X ad revenue, basically the time you put in versus how much you make. And so I compared the two with YouTube and Twitter, and Doge Designer highlighted it. And I was one of the first ones to do that. Tiffany Young later did that. But anyways, he took mine and Tiffany's and made a post about it. And it wasn't just like he took it from us and like didn't give any credit. He literally added me in the post. He had put my YouTube and he put my X profile. So that was really cool. And then Elon reposted it saying cool. So that was insane, dude. I haven't talked about the analytics yet. I only got like a maybe 200 more followers. It's not like I got like thousands of new followers. But that post alone got like 23 plus million impressions. It was just like a big dopamine hit for me. Finally be noticed like by for like doing something like kind of creative. I would consider that creative. Not a lot of people talk about cross comparisons of revenue. Matter of fact, revenue has just kind of been a weird thing to talk about like in everything. Like I remember when I was first getting into YouTube, like I try to like ask people either like about their ad revenue or their sponsorships or whatever, and like it's kind of like a no, like we don't talk about that. It's always been weird for me. So since the beginning, I've always been pretty open with, yeah, this is how much ad revenue I get, especially like it's not a lot, it might as well talk about it. And now on X, everybody wants to talk about it because it's a new thing. So yeah, I compared the two, and then Elon ended up sharing it, and it was a really cool experience for myself just to kind of get noticed by him.
Dude, that's wild. That's a big milestone, for anybody, and so I think the sky's the limit, man. And I'm excited for you. And, that was really cool to see. And man, that's like, who doesn't want to get like retweeted by Elon Musk? You know what I mean? It's like you're literally on the platform doing like all this hard work, and that happens, and that like goes to show that like the work you are putting in like matters, and people are seeing it, and so that's kind of like validation, So it's cool, and this is only the beginning, brother. So that was really cool
Heck
to
yeah,
see.
man.
VV payouts on. I don't know if you mentioned that, but they disabled it 2 days ago for optimizations. And it's good to see that they're actually delivering on timelines these days. Probably credit to kind of their new hires, Mitch and Nestor. I don't know if Nestor's still around, but Mitch and Nestor, they are putting in work in. So it's good to see that they're actually delivering on those timelines.
Yeah, I was going to add to, I don't remember who posted it, but Vivi has like several new job postings
I've been
for
seeing
anybody that's
that. Yeah.
watching that are like, oh yeah, I have it pulled up here. So for anybody that's watching and like maybe looking for a job, on the digital collectible sphere, Vivi has open positions for engineering manager, senior mobile engineer, software engineer, graphic designer, Salesforce marketing automation specialist. Kyle, that could be something maybe you're interested in. 3D animator, 3D modeler, and texture artist. So if you're involved with any of those things, you might want to check out the VV jobs list. I think we should make that a regular segment on the show, Kyle. Maybe not for every
Jobs,
week,
NFT
but
jobs,
talk about jobs that are
jobs,
involved with Web3.
jobs.
Yeah, everybody. I have people ask me a lot, and there's always opportunity out there. I mean, there's so many projects hiring, and then not just projects that are already NFT projects, but there's also projects that are looking for like Web3 specialists to be on their team. And let me tell you, as somebody who has hired people in this space, it's very hard to work with somebody who just has Web2 experience and no Web3 experience to do Web3 oriented like projects. So like they're gonna want that experience and to be in the culture. So if you're looking for that, we'll have some updates on the
Yeah,
podcast.
and there's content creators looking for sponsorships as well. So if you're a company wanting to sponsor this podcast, reach out to us and we'd be happy to work with you. All right, let's move on to the creator GG drama. Chris, what's going on with that, man? Like,
Yeah, bro. So crazy weekend for that. I actually made a video recently in my last video post on this channel about the Creator GG drama. So Mr. Beast accepted a sponsorship from Creator GG, kind of has it in his video, and even teams up with giving a box of Feastables, which is an amazing deal. We'll get to that later. If you buy one of these $20 passes for Creator GG, the drama comes from after the day they had like these huge content creators. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the list right now before I name a few, but one of the most controversial as far as Creator GG goes, why am I not being able to pull this up, would be Sea Dog. And give me just a second so I can pull this up and kind of explain to you what I'm talking about with Sea Dog.
yeah.
So
What?
here it is. So they've teamed up with huge content creators like Bella Porsche, Sea Dog, Clicks, iShowSpeed. We actually talked about him last
Yeah,
week.
show
Optic
me.
Gaming, OTK, Sagnap, Vinny Hacker, and then of course the deal with Mr. Beast that ends in just a couple of days. So the drama is that since the partnerships with these huge companies, which you would probably consider this a W for Web3, it's got a lot of backlash because apparently some people are coming forward saying we had no idea that it was involved with blockchain tech. We were ensured that NFTs weren't involved with this at all. So they're trying to withdraw. Like CDawg was the one that specifically did that. And I think since CDawg did it, maybe there's one more creator that was on that roster that said, hey, I don't want to have anything to do with this. So that's pretty much the dramas in the situation. What's your takeaway from that, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, this is involving like Mr. Beast. So it was like really like a lot of attention was on it just because like he was giving a free box of Feastables away. It involved his new video on YouTube, which got like 66 million plus views on it. So yeah, it was like major controversy that Sea Dog pulled out at the last minute. I don't know. I think that was weird. Maybe he was just trying, who knows? Like he apparently doesn't like blockchain. But like I think it was a knee jerk reaction because you can't sell the pass. It's only $20. The $20 gets you into your favorite creator that you pick out of that like bunch. I picked Optic Gaming because I feel like they're gonna win. You know what I mean? And it lets you partake in their tournament, the voting. It has very, very little to do with blockchain at all. Like it has nothing to do with it. The only thing that is blockchain based is that little pass that just says you own it. It's so that is the literally is the most minute detail of the entire creator league
Yeah.
is the little pass. And I guess you couldn't get past it. Did a knee jerk reaction, and I guess just assume the passes were going to be speculative when they're not. You can't currently trade them, you can't sell them, you can't do anything with them, as far as my knowledge currently. And I'm in it, so I've been able to take a look at it. And so again, this was very, very minute blockchain, anything to do with it. The major part of it is just being able to have fun with your favorite creator. And unfortunately, he backed out and caused a bunch of drama. It went viral. All the different outlets were covering it. Dextero, one of the larger Web3, kind of gaming outlets. I think Jake Lucky may have. I'm not sure. But yeah, this was to me was a little overkill on the react. His tweet was really dramatic about him not
It was very
super, super
dramatic. Yeah.
dramatic. And it's like, bro, to me, this is just a technology. It's like, who would say this about a cell phone? It's like, this cell phone, I don't believe in it because some silly reason, but yet we still have phones, we still have the internet, we still have the email. When the email first came out, there's even to this day there's major phishing scams on there. You have the even dark web on the internet. It's like there's going to be definitely cons to technology, but there's also going to be huge massive benefits. And it's just so silly. Like every time we have a new technology, people get so weird about it. But in the long run, it's like a clear, obvious benefit to society. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Let me give a devil's advocate. So I agree with you, Kyle. NFT is just a technology, and you said it best when you said it's a minute part of this entire sphere. I mean, this is really cool. Like Creators UG allows you to participate with your favorite creators. You can vote on the games they play. It's not just the creators playing the games as well. Like they can, and to my understanding, you can even like vote people from the community to play. Maybe you have a professional gamer that has one of the passes or whatever. It's really, the whole concept to me is cool. But a little pushback here is I got a comment on my YouTube, and this is something I've thought about as well. If the Creators League did not disclose any of the blockchain technology, kind of your thought process and what I align with is like, why would they have to? Like, it's literally like not like you would never have to do that for anything else. But the stigma is like so strong for NFTs. It unfortunately like the public views them as scams. So I feel like as a creator, let's take emotions out of this. Like you're just a creator, you're successful already. Now your name is kind of tied to like NFTs or blockchain or crypto. So if it's true and like let's say CDawg like just didn't know at all that it had to do blockchain, and maybe he even asked, hopefully he didn't ask and they said like no, it has nothing to do with blockchain. Now his name's tied to it. Like can you see why like that would, maybe you don't agree with his response, but could you see why maybe that would bother some of these creators?
Yeah, and I replied to that on Twitter is like that, if that's the case, then of course, like he's looking out for the best interest of his audience, his community, and he's already built a business, as you said. So I can't fault him for that. I do think maybe his team knew possibly, or it was in the contract and maybe they overlooked it a little bit. This is with Near Protocol. I believe it was with that, at least the NFT was on. So at the end of the day, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they overlooked it or what have you. I did see Bryson, who is one of the kind of community managers on Creators League. He actually replied to Sea Dog himself and said, "Hey, I would love to get the opportunity to chat with you about it." And I think he would just say the same thing we're already saying, is like, it's such a minute part. It has really nothing to do with NFTs. Like, it just gives ownership to the people who bought the pass. That's literally it. It just shows that you were participating at day one in this Creators League. And you get the free box of chocolates, baby. So it's a proof. It's
That
literally,
chocolate's
it's like,
good, dude.
it's,
I love some Mr.
and for
Beast
maybe new
chocolate.
people watching, it's like equivalent to buying a concert ticket to show that you're at that concert. And it was the very first concert that of that kind of event, and you could go and put it in your, uh, binder for later, or maybe even sell it. Some people sell their tickets on eBay, but right now you can't even sell those creator passes. So there's no
Dude, that's
speculation.
such a good point. Like, let's say like you couldn't sell the tickets; they're soul bound, which is what we refer to as like tokens that can't leave your wallet. That's like Taylor Swift, which she would probably be the one to do this. As if Taylor Swift like sold tickets to her concert and then realized that the tickets were on chain. And then she's like, "Oh crud, I don't want to sell my tickets now because they're like on this blockchain." Like, I disagree with that. Like, that would be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Like, if like it wasn't really nothing to do with NFTs or speculation, and like they were bound to the wallets. And let's say Ticketmaster could easily take your tickets and put them on some type of blockchain, and really most people wouldn't even care or wouldn't even know about it. But now it's a big deal because now Taylor Swift's associated with NFTs or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It
one
really,
of those.
I would say,
It's one of those things. People are making it way more than it actually is. And in this case, it's Sea Dog making it way more than what it really is, which is just a technology. It's like, I'm not going
but
to use
I will say,
Wi-Fi because I only believe in cell phone service. Like I
sure,
don't know. It's just a little. To
I'm
me, I'm a
with
tech
you.
guy, so to me, it doesn't make any sense. But
I'm with you, and I wish that people like Sea Dog would kind of like understand more. I do see though, like a lot of celebrities have used NFTs just purely to promote scams or to like extract liquidity or like other unethical ways. So if I was a very successful creator in Web 2, like I would tread carefully on associating myself at first with some of the
that's true. Yeah.
technology because I don't want to be seen like them. I don't want to be seen as that person. Like, I don't even remember one of the last ones. I think
But there's so many like Web 2 versions of that just like aren't as popular. When they promote like scammy businesses in their videos, if like you got to look at FTX that happened, which I mean that involved crypto, so it's probably a bad example. But
yeah.
it's like all these influencers that have promoted maybe products that were just garbage, or maybe and again, it goes back to email as well. It's like, well, what about all the phishing links on email? And that's 100% Web 2. And then you have people selling, all these hacks taking place on Web 2. The Facebook hack that happened a couple years ago, that was so major that like all these people's emails and identities are being sold on the dark web. And it's like we want to like shake a fist at NFTs, but your entire identity is being stolen on Web 2. Like let's take a step
Yeah.
back and realize that there's worse things out there than NFTs. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I completely agree. Jonah made a video going over it, and he talked a lot about like Web 2 scams, and he tread carefully on this as well. And I'm trying. I would have to do the same. But a lot of gamers are, and as you know, as a gamer, like they are tech savvy. So I feel like they're like here, but thinking that they're here and like tech savvy. And so it's kind of like they feel like they know
Right.
better, know it all. And then also a lot of those Web 2 scams, let's be real, like they happen with like higher profile people. Like at the end of the day, I don't know a better way to package up how to say that. So the people they happen to probably isn't the same people like complaining about this. There's so much. I don't even talk
There's
about like
so
personal
to
stuff,
me
but
there's
like
just so
there's so
many.
many scams.
Yeah, there's so many more Web 2 problems right now than there is to me Web 3. Like Web 3 can be fixed long term. You can build better games and better systems. There could be better regulation on top of it all. So to me, we're just so early. And unfortunately, like you did say, there is a lot of scams that were rampant. and you have to do your due diligence, and it is hard to find like super good stuff. So credit to some of the creators, but you do have to point that out. Like you can't just say that the entire all NFTs are just bad when inherently that's incorrect, false, misleading, and not true. Because what we're seeing
Yeah,
in like in my sector, gaming, gaming in Web3, which I've worked for Illuvium and Myria, is like there's solid games out there. There's developers from AAA studios building in Web3, and we will see good games. It's just going to be like a matter of time. And in terms of the AAA quality, we're already seeing good games being built now. I've played a couple of good games in Web3 already. So yeah, inherently that's like incorrect to paint all NFTs into a corner. But
sure.
at the same time, I get your point where there is a lot of nefarious activity in the space, unfortunately.
I think this could have been handled if Sea Dog maybe just asked this community, like, "Hey guys, like, one again, we don't know what happened on the back end. If like he was completely tricked, and like
Yep,
especially if
that's
he
true.
like asked if it involved NFTs and they said no, then I don't really blame him. But if it was one of those things that like he kind of thought about more or kind of saw more clear later, or maybe they just didn't mention it, like which I find I would land there probably. Like, why would they have to mention that it was that like one tiny aspect was on the blockchain? Like that shouldn't be a requirement. I feel like it was that, and then later people associate it. But anyways, if it just came out and said like basically the same post but without withdrawing, like, hey, I didn't realize this is on blockchain. I just want to vote for my community. Do you care if this is on chain? I didn't know, or I wasn't expecting it, and then like let the community decide.
Yeah.
But I'm like you. I feel like it's a knee jerk, like, oh gosh, this blockchain, I'm withdrawing immediately. This has to do with a scam, and then like jumps out on
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
So
I've fallen prey to some Web2 scams a couple times. I mean, there's one company that my wife bought like some kind of garden thing, and it never came through, and they just like, and we had to like keep following up. And then there's one time it was like we ordered a dog that never came as well. Like we were stupid, and it was like when I was young. And so we ordered this puppy that didn't exist. It never like we were never able to get it. We had sent the money through, and that was a giant scam. And we got scammed out of like
oh
seven,
yeah.
$800, like doing that. And of course, yeah,
Bro,
like looking back,
I lost thousands of
yeah,
dollars due to a healthcare scam that I'll talk about
yeah,
in a second.
looking back, that was stupid. And I even was like, is this a scam? And it turned out it was. So it's like, Web 2 versus Web 3, there's going to be scams in any industry, but it's just now that NFTs are new and it's like the biggest talk of the town. Of course, it's going to get a lot more attention. And there is large scams out there. Like, don't get me wrong, like people have been scammed for large sums of money, and I my heart goes out to them, and that really sucks, and that's really painful. And I do agree that this space needs to get better. And we were
Yeah,
advocates
dude,
of that here
I
on the
got
podcast. Like we cover only projects we actually like do the research on. Disney's in the space, Marvel, like all these like big brands are still in the space doing good things. You look at Cryptoys, VV, whatever, like the IPs out there, DC even. So they obviously believe in this technology, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not going to go away. It's just we just need better curated games and better curated apps and companies out there.
sure. Yeah, man, I got scammed for thousands of dollars for like essentially this like fake healthcare thing. Now it wasn't fake. It was a little bit more complicated than that. So there was a time where we were like in between insurance, and from an official like insurance person wherever I was talking to at the time, they like recommended me this. They were like, "Oh, this will save you a little bit of money or whatever." And so I was paying like, I don't remember what it was. It was probably upwards of 400 or 500 a month, which sounds cheap for health insurance, but this is, I'm going to get to my point. They marketed themselves as like a health insurance company that I've never heard of. So I was like, oh, that's cool, whatever. And I was recommended to it by a healthcare professional. And come to find out, it wasn't healthcare insurance. It was healthcare. It was like something else that wasn't considered insurance. Basically, like, I wish I remember the technical name for it, but they wouldn't. So even though they advertised to like help me pay for things, they really didn't. And it was like pretty much the entire thing was a scam. And I ended up having to get a pretty like some like scans, which they said that they would cover, and which equal to be like $4,000. And I had to get a couple of other things, and they didn't cover anything. And when I tried to ask for support, help, or cancel, they had this like little pyramid thing going on. They're like basically like, oh, well, you're going to have to talk to this person. So then they sent me to a different company, which they also owned. And they're like, oh, well, we can't help that. You're going to have to call this person, which they sent me to a different company,
Sounds
which
like
they
a
also
Ponzi.
owned. Dude, it was a Ponzi. It was absolutely a Ponzi, and it was recommended to me by an actual healthcare professional, which is like what like was the most annoying part of this whole thing. So to actually cancel that and now be responsible for all the bills that I like had over that year was awful, man. Like I was paying like $500 a month for absolutely nothing. They covered zero. They could legally do this based on the wording that they used in it, and then they like just to get rid of it, dude. I ended up having to go through this huge thing to like just cancel it, and then I was uninsured. It was atrocious. But anyways, all that being said, there's scams in web 2. We're gonna go on to the
Dude,
next
there's
topic, and the
even
next
mail scams. Like seriously, like even snail mail, like old school mail. There's still scams that come through there all the time. Like there's scams everywhere. It's just like it hits every form of marketing and material and medium. Like it's not just NFTs. It's like that's just the one that gets the
sure.
most media attention because it's just easier to talk about.
Speaking of scams, I was gonna go speaking of drama, but we can talk about that in a second. The Discord link. So it looks like it's a lot easier now to be able to change your Discord link to say like something else. So like you've been able to do this for a long time to be able to change the like hyperlink to something else. But now I guess it's just easier for the average person to do. Basically, instead of saying like it could say like walletdrainer.com, like that's where it could lead you to, but you could change it from to say like
OpenSea.com,
whatever you
whenever.
want, OpenSea.io or whatever, and then they click it and they go to a wallet drainer. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, this is you see this in so it's in Discord, but it's really just markup. You see this in emails as well. So people are able to like embed a like HTML markup as a different link or something like that. Yeah, so this is like that's why I always you can do two things, like obviously not click on links at all. So this goes back to phishing in Web 2 is like the same goes for email. Like you don't want to click on any links in an email either. So you want to like do your due diligence and maybe even copy and paste it and make sure all the spelling's like super correct, or just not click on the link at all and do your own research and go to the website by manually typing it in. That's always been the case for email. It's the case for Discord and really anywhere like Twitter links. Anywhere you see a link, you always have to be super super careful around that. So yeah, just like you said on Discord, try not to click links. Period. Like that's the moral of the story. If you really need to go look up something, just manually type it in. I read every single link, and I don't like click on it. I'll either copy and paste it and read it, or I'll type it in manually, and I make sure there's zero misspellings. And yeah, you just have to be so careful online. Period. Whether it's an email or
Sure.
Discord, it doesn't matter. Twitter, all the above.
Yeah, this probably isn't the best practice, but every once in a while, I'll just let it rip on a device I don't care about that has nothing on it. Um, and to my knowledge, I don't want to give misinformation, but like I still think most of the time it's like what you do within that link. Like,
Most of the,
if
yeah, it
you
is.
could
Yeah, it
go,
is. Yeah.
if you go to that link, like just don't put in your email and your password, or if you go to that link, don't like connect your wallet.
Yeah.
Like that, those are two like big rules of thumb. Like
Yeah.
again, I don't want to be wrong on this. I'm sure there are some links that will like maybe like automatically try to download like malware, especially if you don't have protection, which like I would recommend like malware bytes or something like that. But like at the end of the day, if you do happen to click a link, like don't give them for any information. I can't tell you how many email links I've clicked. That's like, hey, you're signed out of your PayPal. Be sure to put
Yeah.
or even like your Facebook. Like, be sure to put your information here. And then like you put your information, and you're essentially just you're handing off your information to somebody
Yeah,
else, or like
I mean that's
same thing with like
phishing
connecting.
in a nutshell. So that I mean, yeah, phishing's
Sure.
everywhere. It's Discord, but that's a Web 2 problem, right? It's not a Web 3 problem. The Web 3 problem is when they phish you and then you go, instead of inputting your like password and username like for Facebook, you're just instead approving a transaction on your MetaMask, which like is a wallet draining smart contract that you're interacting with. So literally it's the Web 3 version of it, but it's still a Web 2 problem. Now it's just translated into like Web 3. So like
Which
both of those still
the
exist, right? You want to be aware of both. That way you can, no matter if it's Web 2 or Web 3, you now know that there's phishing on both sides of the ball game here.
Yeah, and the people who originally shared like the whole Discord link thing that like went somewhat viral is Pocket Universe, and I actually use them. So like they'll straight up, it's like a Chrome extension. And if you go to connect to something or do any type of transaction, it will tell you exactly what you're doing. So for instance, if you click one of those emails and you're using a Chrome extension of Pocket Universe, and you go like you try to like connect to it, it will straight up tell you by connecting to this site, you're giving potential to have access to all your NFTs or all your crypto in that wallet. So shout out to Pocket Universe. I've never actually
Yeah,
tried to connect to something harmful, but it tells me every
I
time.
wanted to partner up with a company called Mint Defense. They're like a Neo Tokyo company, or not Neo Tokyo company, but they came from Neo Tokyo as a citizen, which is like one of my favorite projects. And we'll try to partner up with them. I'll try to reach out back out to them. But I was going to offer like something because our community, obviously, a lot of people are like, "But look at Web3," and I'm like, "Well, there's Mint Defense, so there's you can sign up for a subscription." But I wanted to like hook up with one of those companies to like have that available for like our audience members to like interact safely in Web3 because that's the benefit of that is like you can have like you said, Chris, either what was it, parabolic pocket or what was it called,
Pocket
Poly
Universe.
Pocket.
Pocket
Pocket
Universe.
unit. Okay, so there's stuff out there that can protect you. So just know that.
Yep.
Like with regular old Web 2 phishing links, there's a lot of like there's still stuff out there. Like you have to turn on all these safety features, like malware detection, and all that. So
Webassy is another good one. I know some of the guys at Webassy, but all right, we'll move on to the next topic. I actually don't know a lot about this one. I know you keep up with this more, but there was some gala drama that happened over the
oh yeah,
weekend. You
there
want to talk about
was.
that?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of Gala Games drama, man. Apparently the founders are suing each other, and it's over like multi millions of dollars, like $600 million. So
Wow.
this honestly, like but yeah, I don't want to say because it might make people upset. But this reminds me of a certain project that there people were suing each other over stuff like this, but nonetheless, it's happening with the Gala Games. Co-founders are suing each other. Like somebody was dumping tokens allegedly. I don't know the whole lawsuit. I did skim over it. I did read it, and it involves a lot. And I saw even Johnny or Hustle from Hustlepedia over on Crypto Banner cover this as well. So there's a lot of gamers have been talking about this. This is the talk of the town.
Mm.
And this is the reason why I kind of backed off of doing Gala Games content was like everything seemed to be like they were going like Web3, like, all about the gamers. And it just seems like over time they're more centralizing everything. And this lawsuits are kind of showing what's going on behind the scenes and with between the co-founders and airing out all their kind of laundry. Like the founders have like 7,000 nodes apiece, which is an obscene amount of nodes for Gala. So they're kind of what Johnny was saying is that he feels like they're kind of enriching themselves on the back end with all these nodes. And it just feels like a basically a Web 2 type of scenario where instead of Web 3. So I don't know. And Jake from On Chain Gaming like aired out their laundry as well. Like he was like their best creator, number one creator of Gala Games.
Dang.
And
Wow.
they pulled his contract. They didn't like, first of all, they didn't like him talking about the token, which is fair. Like, you don't want to do speculative type of content under a contract when you're trying to appeal to gamers. So I get that. And then he got disgruntled over a few things. They banned his account. That was his brother's account. There's a lot of like history that's going on with Gala Games that just doesn't look good, including this lawsuit between the co-founders. So there's just a lot of culmination. Even so, another thing that people were a little upset about, Chris, was the Gala Games V1 token that was listed on Coinbase. They tried to upgrade it to a different smart contract that would essentially centralize it even more on V2, and then Coinbase didn't renew. They said no, we're not going to list V2, and so a lot of people were left holding the Gala One V1 token bag, and they weren't able to claim the V2. So they were just lost like thousands of dollars essentially holding V1, and they're still like I don't know
God.
what.
Wait, so we hold V1, we have to I'm holding a little bit of V1. Was I supposed to do something?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I don't know if there's a bridge. I don't know what. Like, I don't hold any tokens on Gala. Like, I wasn't gonna invest into a node early on, when it was like affordable, but I felt that was a little too late, and I looked at getting in again recently, but I just saw some activity that I didn't like that seemed to me not to represent the Web3 ethos. Giving back player ownership and like all that stuff. Not that I don't like Gala. I still think they'll work through this. So on the flip side of this, um, I do think that they can come out of this if they can really put it back together. I've seen the Bitbender. He's trying to do his work out there and trying to like remedy of what they are building. They're pros and like everything Gala's already doing, the music, the movies, like all that stuff. Like you can still buy into it. Um, so like I think they can come back from this. This is just a big it's just a
It sucks, dude.
yeah, it's a big like mess, and like people don't want to be involved with messes. Like they want to,
Sure.
but it could be like if you're looking at like if you've never made an entry into Gala, maybe like people are kind of dumping their tokens. I think their token was down pretty significantly. Again,
Yeah, I was just looking at it.
I love
It's down
Web3 games.
68% for the
Like
year,
this is kind of
20% this week.
it's sad. It's sad to witness this because Gala is one of the big ones that is supposed to be doing really good for the Web3 gaming space. And somebody told me about you know I don't know. To me, I mean, Vivi's gone through lawsuits and they seem to be doing okay. One of their former like major employees like that is involved or something. I don't know. They seem to be doing fine. So I think on the flip side of this, Gala could be doing fine as well. They'll have to clean up this, like get rid of this lawsuit needs to end. I don't know. It could be a while though. But yeah, Gala's dipped quite a bit. So at the flip side of this, maybe a good entry. I don't know. Like I'm not financial advice, but who knows? Who knows? This could keep
Sure.
dumping though. So be careful out there. Be safe. Take everything with a grain of salt. But this is kind of like they're back to like kind of all time. They're kind of back to like lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Let me look. Well, I guess all-time lows on crypto are never like accurate because like obviously there's like the initial
This one
token
looks
launch.
like pretty significant. Like it's like so Gala like popped off hard, like just like any other kind of like metaverse type crypto token or gaming token. And it's like back previous. It's like it's lower than that previous high.
It's
Like it's like way
it's
lower.
down 98% in the
Yeah,
last 2 years.
98%. That's the number. So it's pretty bad. Again, like that sucks for the community members. I know a lot of people that were really invested in that. They have nodes. The nodes like made a lot of people a lot of money, and for the co-founders to own like 7,000 a piece, they're like, I think the suit includes like a jet or something. I don't know. Like it was just a crazy amount, like $600 million. Like it's a lot of money. And I think they still hold like their nodes are still going to pump out tokens. I don't know their tokenomics exactly, but it's like major dramas, and everybody's looked at this. Like if you're in Web3 gaming, or yeah, I mean, whew, that's a big
It
one.
sucks, dude. It sucks because like just a couple greedy people hurt so many other people, and that happens. I mean, that happened in VV. It's happening here. Like you said, though, I mean, it's obviously redeemable. Like it's something that you can come back from. That said, I mean, Omi's had some good news recently, and they're up 43% for the last month, but they're still down 93.23% in the last 2 years. Granted, I don't want to just point a finger at Omi because I mean crypto right now is down pretty bad. That said, that's why I think Bitcoin and really Ethereum's always like your safest. When not doing alts. I was about to look up Bitcoin's price. Whereas you're looking at Bitcoin's price, it's down 62% in the last 2 years from the all time highs. All this is from the all time highs. So yeah, but I think it can be redeemed, and right now, we're still in the bear market. These tokens can definitely see all-time highs again, I believe. Not financial advice, of course. It just depends, but yeah, it just sucks. A couple of greedy people really hurt projects, but we'll see which projects come back from that. I think Vivi and Gala will come back from that. It just sucks that so many people are hurt in the process just due to a couple of
Just a couple of
whether it be greed or whether it be like, do you realize like this like disagreement and like lawsuit affects like everybody,
right.
and you probably do realize that, but when millions of dollars on the line, you don't
Yeah, I
care.
think one of the parties is alleging like that there's like activity of trying to shut his company out of the company, and like dumping of tokens and centralizing of processes. Um, and again, we kind of noticed that on the surface already. I think these suits kind of just show that there was definitely some validity to what Jake from On Chain Gaming was kind of saying. And so it's unfortunate to see. I hope Bitbender can really redeem that and kind of fix some of those issues, and a lot of gamers had issues already with that. I just hope that they're able to really come back and benefit players and really gamers, because that's what we were all excited about, is the games. They have a couple of really great games that I like on there. So it's just unfortunate for everybody, including the whole space. Like this is not a good look for Web3 gaming at all. Like if you're really excited about Web3 games like me, this was definitely one of those moments that was like felt like a letdown a little bit. But again, they could come back
Well,
from this.
speaking of Web3 gamers like you want to tell it, and after this, let's go in. There's some really cool AI news that I'd like to talk about. But I saw you've been playing SCG football, and specifically you played a tournament. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah. Speaking of the pros and the exciting parts of Web3, STG is really fun. It's like Super Team Game is like the developers, so it's called STG Football. They have an NFLPA license, so they're able to work with an NFLPA, and they have actually streamed like actual real NFL players with some of the gamers. And I think I had the opportunity to, I just couldn't do it at that day, but I just played in a tournament. If you won, you got to play with Tyreek Hill, which is one of the best athletes in the NFL, which was really super cool. And you get to win. You could have won a $3,000 first place. Second place got like
Oh wow.
$2,000. Third place got like 400, and you could name them a play. So there's like a lot of cool incentives. And they are on
Yeah.
Steam and Epic Games. The Steam version, you can't have NFTs, so you just play like the Web 2 version. But if you download from Epic Games, you can use your like NFT cards, but they literally hide everything. Like players don't even know that they're interacting with the blockchain. Like I was like talking to like randos, and I was like, "Yo, what do you play Web3 games?" And they're like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, I downloaded it free on Steam, so it's a free to play." And I was
That's
like,
cool.
"This onboarding process is actually pretty lit." And that could be the future right there of how games do
Yeah,
it.
honestly, so I saw this morning from Savage Studios. He's a gamer. He's into Web3 as well. He shouted out this guy named Bear Knock TV, which only has like 1.9K on Twitter, and he has like, well, he does have a lot on YouTube. He has 37K on YouTube. But anyways, he streams Axie Infinity on Facebook, and it's not. I think it's kind of like you were saying. I don't even think it's the Web3 version because there's no SLP earning potential on Facebook. But there's a screenshot of him having 1.6 thousand live viewers of him streaming Axie Infinity.
Yeah.
Just because that's a big deal. Why is nobody talking about this?
I have no
A lot
idea,
of times,
man.
even the biggest gamers in our space, Bryson, we were talking about him earlier.
Yeah.
Some others, you listen to Crypto Stash, all of those like great streamers do not pull nearly these numbers. 1.6 thousand live viewers on Axie Infinity on Facebook. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things I said in a space like not too long ago is the Web3 games, kind of like the revolution, won't be televised. Like people are gonna like it's just gonna happen organically. At first, it's gonna be a little bit, then it's gonna be a lot. And what I'm seeing on Steam as well, like Web3 games that launch on Steam that have like a Web2 kind of version, I think those will do really great because you onboard gamers, and then on the back end, you could say, "Oh, just so you know, like you could download the Epic Games version and use your cards or use your, you don't even have to call them NFTs. I don't think, like." So to me, like I think that's a cool onboarding process. Like if you just so choose to do that, like interact with if you want to sell your cards or whatever, and maybe they don't need to mention it. I don't know. Like I'm not the police on that, but I
Sure.
think that could be a good potential way to onboard gamers. And I think we're already seeing it play out with the smaller games. And it's just a matter of time before bigger titles pop off like that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I agree. We're going to move on to some of the AI topics. One that I've been using yesterday, really playing around with, is Chatty BT integrates CapCut. So you can actually prompt videos, and it makes you videos in less than a minute, which is crazy. Now, I made one yesterday. It wasn't the best, but basically I made a video on Creator GG, what we talked about at the beginning of the stream. I took my transcript and I copied and pasted it for like a script for this video, and I condensed my 9-minute video into 40 seconds. And it wasn't good yet, but I see where it's going. So it's literally just by doing that, it automated the voice for me and used somebody else's voice, of course. It made the filler like B-roll again, not good. I said Mr. Beast and it said like best, and then I said Creator GG and like it had like kind of like a wide like word of creator, but I like see where this is going, and I'm going to personally be working with it to see like how much I can do with it, because I still feel like even at like how like little it is right now, like or how like not good it is, I feel like it would still save me editing time on like recapping or whatever. So I'm going to really be playing around with this GPT CapCut integration. And I've really been waiting around. Adobe Firefly is coming out with a something that reads your transcript and adds B-roll, which I'd love to do for these podcasts. You know, just be able to send the podcast over to AI, let it fill in B-roll about some of the things we're talking about, kind of like help with that like entertainment value of people being able to see some things. But right now I'm playing around with this ChatGPT CapCut integration. What's your opinions on that?
It's pretty cool. I think it's like obviously like just hinting at the future of what's possible. There's a company called Runway AI that raised like
Mm,
141 million, where you can just enter a prompt and it'll make a whole like movie for you or whatever, short movie.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I think like this is just the sky's kind of the limit here. I think we'll see development like really improve over time, as they tune these models and like all that stuff. So yeah, this is pretty exciting. Yeah, it's just content creation is going to get like easier and easier to get or to do, and the content creator economy is real, and we're seeing it like
Yeah.
we're literally seeing it like born and it kind of taking off like at this point. Like we've already seen it with like YouTube, TikTok. Like obviously people earn like a living and stuff doing like content, but I think this is just the like tip of the iceberg.
I agree. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday on like what my goals are as a content creator in this market. And one of my goals is to like kind of solidify who I am before AI like takes over all of like the other elements. So like right now, like in most of my videos, I'm leaving them a little bit more raw than I usually would. You know, usually I would edit a little bit more, make smoother transitions, make sound effects, keep their retention better. But despite that, right now I'm trying to build like that like raw character of like who I am, and that's one of my focuses right now because I think AI is going to be able to do all that stuff very soon. So I almost view that as like poor time optimization if you're focusing on different things for different people, but like that's kind of my opinion on it. We've talked a lot about this. It's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast. You know, like one, we're building for the future of like we believe to be Web3 and AI tech, but also because like we're building out like being able to connect with the people that view this on a little bit deeper level than like writing a script and reading it and then editing it well, kind of like showing them like hot takes. You know, this is what we think about the creator GG drama or the Gala drama, or this is awesome or this is stupid. Like AI is not gonna really be able to tell you that kind of stuff, and we've talked about that in the past. But humans will still be humans, like because we share the human experience. So I say like one of the things that I'm prepping for now is to be able to connect with other humans on a human level, something that AI cannot and will not replicate because theirs is going to be based on like everything humans have said online and trying to generate those feelings, but they simply haven't lived the human experience, and I stand by that strongly.
Yeah, like early, yeah. So we're so early. Like, yeah, right now you need a lot of human input. If you look at Midjourney and all that, stable diffusion, like it has to pull images from already existing images. But we may get to a point where like you see with Midjourney, it can kind of create images, and maybe like it'll be advanced enough one day to where maybe it doesn't need to pull any images; it could just make one. But that's yeah, I don't know how far that's off, but we'll probably get there. It just I don't know what that looks like. Quantum compute with AI mixed together because AI is kind of just like a model using GPU power essentially, like tensor cores and all that stuff. Which is kind of that's kind of like a brain in itself, like half of a brain. You need the other half, like AKA quantum compute, which is to me like that our brains work like quantum computers in a sense, where we can think abstractly outside the box and we can think new thoughts. So we're not like bound down by certain parameters, like computers and GPUs and like AI is. So there's like differences between the two. And they called that like when intelligent or like artificial intelligence reaches that point, they call that like the point of singularity. And that's where a lot of like tech experts are like thinking we're getting closer and closer to, but we just aren't quite there yet. Now you bring up a good point where it's like, in terms of like opinions and things like that, I don't know how like original, like I think AI could spit out an opinion pretty fast. We already see that with like Chatty BT, but like I don't know how rich that the opinion is probably going to look either funky or maybe not original or pull from like previous things. Like I don't know. There's a lot to think through on that. Um, but we may have to prove that we're humans eventually. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. What's your thoughts on
Dude, one
like
of
proof
my
of personhood? Are you gonna do that if like
scan my
no, not
eyeballs through
necessarily your eyeballs, but like how Vitalik Buterin said like we may need like 3 layers, like we may need some form of biometric mixed with blockchain, mixed with like social media, or something like that, where it's like a multi-layered approach. Because his thoughts on it where it was like the WorldCoin approach was too centralized, because like you have like a mechanical hardware part of it, and then you're kind of just trusting WorldCoin to like have your data safe. So there's like some fail safe, there's like some fail points or whatever.
Sure.
So like, what's your thoughts on that? If there was like
Probably
a
the
better way to do it, would you do it? There's a better way.
I'm not really saying this is like my take. This is like what popped in my head, which is the opposite of my typical view, because a lot of my view is towards decentralization and like independency. But I do think like there just needs to be laws in place for like if I see somebody using my likeness, then I should be able to sue them. Like that easy. Like I think it's that simple. Like I don't think you should upload things or use other people. And I think there should be harsh repercussions, just like we have, like, not that I agree with every aspect of the prison system, but there's things you shouldn't do. And so I think we shouldn't have to have all these proof of us things. I think there needs to be laws in place to prevent other people from doing it. Now they're still going to be able to get around it. I mean, you could use VPNs, you could like try to protect your back end to your like basically like really smart tech savvy people can still use your likeness and get away with it to like large degrees, especially with blockchain technology. But I don't know. I think for like the average person, like there just needs to be things in place of like very careful, like like copyright. I mean, let's not even take like lawsuits. Let's say copyright content. Like, I think there should be. So one thing I've learned with Bitcoin is that the more attacks there are on Bitcoin, also the more defenses there are. That's why Bitcoin's upgraded. So like at the end of the day, for basically for every bad guy, there's also a good guy that's like, that's upgrading. I think the same needs to be for like protection of ourselves with AI. Like while there's like bad things that are being used for our AI, there also needs to be things that detect like better copyright protection to where like if there is any revenue generated, that should be generated and pushed towards the original creator, or that should just be immediately taken down. So I think like while there's like obviously like bad things that could be popping up from this, or there's good things as well. And I don't think I really hope that us having to authenticate ourselves is like is down here on like the options that we originally need. I hope there's just better systems in place to prevent that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like it'd be cool because like recently, like just a few weeks ago, there's like drama around like reaction content, and I was like, I'm like, I'm not against reaction content, but like some people were like fussing about it, like they didn't make the actual video, like they were just reacting to it, and they're getting all the views from it. And I think the solution, that basically universally was like people were saying, yeah, that should be the solution. Is like you said, like better systems. And what my thoughts were is like, yeah, it'd be nice to have like revenue splits, like that were already built in to like each
Yeah,
platform. That if
absolutely.
you're reacting to it, like it'll just connect you to that. It'll just send that creator. Like so, I think yeah, we're still so early, and it does require a lot of development for that. Maybe AI can help in that situation, but I do think even further than that, possibly like if we're online and there's just going to be a bit like, because then you're talking about venturing into territories that are beyond us, like nation states, where they're using AI to do stuff that like is way beyond us, and is going to involve like governmental type of stuff. So that's where I have concerns with. If you've seen The Social Dilemma, you know what I'm talking about, the show on the Netflix.
Yeah, I have.
That was just talking about US stuff, because I think that's like a safe topic, is like let's bash ourselves kind of thing. But you're talking about other governments and other countries and things like that. That's where my concern lies, and maybe we will have to prove we're humans one day out of that
True.
national security need. So I don't know. It's just such
That's
a
fair.
murky. Um, it's a murky future, that's for sure. Like, and it's like one of those things where back then I used to be able to predict a lot of things pretty easily, but now it's like, what does that all look like? Like like even regulators, like I don't know. There's just so many things that AI will affect that people may or not even our regulators are thinking about, until it gets there, until that problem hits, and then they have to think about it. So
Well, on the topic, we had news shared by Metaverse, a very good Instagram account to follow on some of these things, that at the World Robot Conference in Beijing, robots with human-like skin, facial expressions, and physical movement show mimicking skills, which they can do to interact with humans by generating corresponsive features and expressions. This is by Wayne Zhang, and this is all thanks to AI, apparently, and they call them humanoid robots.
man, yeah, I mean, if you look at Boston Dynamics, they've had human robots for a while too. Um, yeah, we're entering a new age, man, and with AI, it's gonna get wild, and you're seeing AI built into like drones and things like that. Like the government's been testing it, like with the jets, like AI powered jets, like basically do their own thinking, and management and things like that. So it's just like automation, like it's going to affect every part of society. It's going to get wild.
Hey, it just hit me. Imagine like reverse scenario, going back to the beginning of the beginning of this podcast, like with Creator GG and Sea Dog. What if like one of the small processes in the back end was like AI? Like would Sea Dog have been like, "Hey, I didn't realize AI was involved with Creator GG. I don't want to be associated with AI, so I'm withdrawing my contract." Just because like maybe like one of the systems was AI, like is that fair to compare?
Yeah, I think that it is, and I think that would be silly, but we kind of see it a little bit between different platforms like Steam versus Epic Games. So Epic Games, like Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, was came back and fired shots at Steam and was like, because Steam, like, they don't want to do like AI generated stuff because they don't want to get like sued, because they're scared of like regulators like regulating that, and then obviously somebody suing them for like copyrighted content. But Epic Games was like, hey, we actually support new technologies, and I was like, oh, shots fired. um but Epic Games is basically supporting AI that was used to like not create entire assets, but create used in the process to like create different aspects of the game and not like actual characters and stuff like that. So he did clarify like, to the extent of this, we'll support. We're okay with that because you can't sue on grounds for that. So therefore, like we support games with that style of AI. Whereas Steam is like kind of just like, it seems like they're outright like, we don't support any of it yet. I don't know. So we're kind of seeing that a little bit, but that's fair to say in terms of Sea Dog. That would be absolutely silly for him because it's like
Yeah.
he's not going to get sued for playing a game. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Um, cool. So we're coming up to the end of the podcast. I did have like one like random thing I wanted to mention. I thought it was kind of funny. And actually, ironically, on the Discord topic, I had this in our notes, and I forgot what you called it, but I changed the link to say something different so I could remind myself. So if anybody was wondering, like, why would somebody even want to change links? Like, there are like good use cases for that. Or I could have changed it to something and got Kyle to click it and drain Kyle's wallet, but I didn't do that because I'm a good friend. And then Kyle wouldn't have fell for it either because he knows how to look for this stuff. Anyways, on this note, Jim Cramer is buying BNB and is bullish on Binance Exchange. He said on CNBC, and he literally said they prove collateral, not reserves, but CZ looks like a good guy. I'm bullish here, loading up on their tokens, way oversold.
What? Yeah, BNB, like I just did like a write up on this. It was like they're pulling out support for BNB on Binance themselves and like trying to promote some other like Hong Kong based like stable coin.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Like if
So
you
Jim Cramer is pulling the typical top
Oh,
alert
you know what?
here.
I think I'm thinking of not BNB. Sorry, I'm thinking of BUSD, which is different from BNB. But yeah, BNB.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at the charts real quick and see. Now, I mean, I when I'm looking at coins for my risk appetite, because I'm not a billionaire or a millionaire, Yeah, I don't know if BNB is the coin I'm looking at here.
Sure.
For like,
But
well,
also,
even if I
again,
was like, I don't know if it's BNB. It might
without
be.
even looking at the chart, though, we just need to realize that they still have some like what's like what Kramer was saying. They have their lawsuit around the corner, or their like uncertainty of like the SEC regulation, at least in the U.S.
It's hovering around
So
like prior levels from like June 2022 of like basically last year. So I mean, if it holds, maybe again that's one of the things. Like if I'm looking at the charts, I'm looking at those closely to see if it holds that support. Otherwise, it could fall off a cliff there. So that's like I don't know. Like yeah, maybe if you're a millionaire and you're playing games for the long term, but to me, there's a lot of better buys that could do a lot better than that. But that's again different. Everybody's different,
yeah.
different stages of life and money. So I don't know.
Yep, everybody's different. Don't be different.
Not financial
Be the
advice.
same, and like this video, subscribe to the podcast,
We're
follow
on
our newsletter at
we're on
Alpha Media
Spotify. We're
Labs.
on like every
Yeah, we're on
podcasting
all those
app.
things. So Alpha Media Labs, I'll leave it down below in the description of this. It's also, yeah, you can find it. So anyways, we were actually sending out a newsletter today, so be sure to check that out. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next week on Kyle's channel.
See
Peace
you
out.
later.